Hey everybody, welcome to Stewie's Thoughts Podcast, episode 49. Why did I write 39 down there like an absolute idiot? Hang on, 49. And today I'm going to give you my thoughts about bad drivers, but hey, that's not important right now. I've got a very, very special announcement to make, and I'm going to make it right after I play the intro. Play the intro. Okay, so the special announcement, guys, is I'm going to try and make this whole podcast clean. What I mean by that is not curse anymore. So, people have told me in the past, oh, you curse a lot on your podcast. And I'm like, yeah. And the thing is, outside of this podcast, I don't really curse that much. Like, I listened to my last episode, and I started counting, like, how many times I said the F word, and I actually got to about 50 within like 5 minutes, and I was like, and there's no point. Like that's enough. I understand. I don't curse a lot. I mean, when I was younger, I used to, like when I lived in Northern Ireland, like the F word, and was like every sort of word I said, the F word followed it. I'm coming back on here and being in this room on my own. This is my thought process, right? When I'm out and I'm doing weddings or anything like that, I don't curse. If I'm around like kids or anything, I don't curse. If I'm at Kirsty's parents' house, I don't curse. Like if I'm in the shops or something like that, I don't curse. The only time I really curse, like, is when I'm at home with like Kirsty or something. But like, I'm not saying the F word every 5 seconds. It's only until I come on here, I think to myself, oh, I can just let loose and just curse as much as I want. Not realizing that this is actually going out to the public. So like, if I'm not cursing when I'm doing weddings or anything like that, then why come on here and curse? So, I mean, I think that I have to curse to make this podcast funny, but I don't. Like, every time I was, starting the episode, I would say, start the M and F and, what do you call it? Intro. But, like, I don't need to do that. Like, all I can say is play the intro, like I just did. I don't need to curse as much. But this is an experiment I'm conducting today. Can I do this episode and not curse? And if I can do any episode without cursing, because this one is probably the one I would curse the most at, because it's bad drivers. I mean, I'm just going to sit here and talk about bad drivers, and I'll tell you something. I'm going to try and remain calm and not curse. So this is an experiment. I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. We're going to see together. So basically, I listen back to my podcasts and I'm like, how can I improve it? How can I make it better? So I listen back and I'm thinking to myself, stop saying this all the time. Or another thing I picked up on was I'm too close to the microphone. So I'm actually a good bit away from the microphone now, and I'm going to test this out to see if it actually affects the sound quality. As in, like, do I need to be this close? This is how close I was to the microphone before, but yet I'm this far away. And the problem I had was being too close to the microphone was you could actually hear me breathing. I would say something like this and go after, and I'm like, that's not nice to listen to. So I'm keeping my distance away from the microphone. I don't know how far away I am. I'm about 2 fists away from the microphone right now. And we're going to see if that helps. So hopefully from now on, you won't hear me breathing every time I talk. I mean, the last episode, I was like, you could hear like my throat. I needed to clear my throat. But what's really weird is I don't hear it. when I'm doing the editing, it actually like makes things louder. So if I'm sitting here and let's say I've got like a blocked nose and it's like that, like if I don't really hear it that much, but whenever I mean, it's probably not making that much of a sound, but whenever I'm amplifying the sound, the recording, then you can hear it. And sniffing, I didn't realise I sniffed a lot on this podcast. And it's only now, and like listening back to it, I'm thinking to myself, don't sniff. Like it's like so obvious. It's like, don't sniff, stay away from the microphone and stop cursing. That's like my sort of major things that I'm going to focus on at the minute. And then hopefully that'll improve the podcast. Whenever you upload a podcast, right? So when you upload it to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything like that, there's a little button that says, does this episode contain explicit content? And I'm always putting yes, always, all the time, always putting yes. And I think by doing that, I'm actually restricting people listening to the podcast. So like, I don't know, maybe you need to be like 18 or something like that to listen to my podcast because I put explicit content on there. So it's restricting viewers basically because I just curse. So I'm hoping that by making this clean, it'll still be fun to listen to, but by making it clean, it might widen the audience. But one of the major things as well, I mean, there's so many reasons why I want to go clean. Like my business is linked to this podcast, and I think it might put people off. They might, book me. They might think, oh, look, listen to him cursing. He curses every couple of seconds. I don't want him at my wedding. But I don't curse at weddings or anything. Whenever I'm doing my business stuff, I don't curse. And also, I want to get fellow business owners. Hang on, I'm going to sneeze. Ugh. Oh, nothing worse than going to sneeze and it doesn't come out and it's just lingering. Right, I'm fine. Like, I want to get other business people on this podcast, like other business owners, but I don't think that they would want to go on a podcast where I curse a lot and then mention their business. Do you see what I'm getting at here? So, like, I think, well, it's an experiment, so I'm going to try and over the next few episodes to see if I can make this podcast clean. Then I'll be able to, like, widen the audience, maybe get more people on here, but also still maintaining the comedy aspect of it. I still want it to be fun, you know? But like, I don't want to be like, bad drivers, we all hate them, they crash into things, and this is what they do. That's boring. Effing drivers, it doesn't need to be like that. No, it could be more like, you know what? I was driving down the road and some woman twatted into me. Like, I can say, like, flipping, or, I can still say vagina and penis. I don't need to say the C word, Like, I can just say stuff like that, so I can still make jokes and stuff. But I don't know. Do you know what? This episode is an experiment. If I can do this episode, keep it clean, keep it fun. But, like, I'll know by the end of this episode, basically. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'll know by the end of this episode whether it's going to be a clean one from now on, or I'm just going to go back to cursing. But if I do end up going back to cursing, it's going to be toned down dramatically. Because maybe you do need to say the odd, F word, but maybe you don't. But we're going to find out together. We're finding out together, guys. This is how you grow as a podcaster. Is that what I am? A podcaster? This is how you grow. You learn. You listen back to what you've been doing. You think to yourself, okay, this way this could be improved. So how can I improve? We'll do this. And it's all about growth and, okay, I'm just rambling on now, right? Anyway, so what have I been up to recently? Right, I feel like I should start the intro. Maybe I should have started that before, I don't know. But when was my last podcast? Let's see what happened. Let me tell you this. The reason why I'm doing bad drivers is because I went to a wedding the other day and some woman crashed into me. And that's the reason why I want to talk about bad drivers. I've actually been wanting to do this episode for a long time. But I'm going to talk to you about that in a little minute. And why you should get a dash cam. But let me get the calendar. So, when was my last podcast? There's a new Star Talk out. I'm going to have to listen to that. So, my last episode was 6 days ago. So, there you go. 2 within a week. Lucky ducks, aren't you? 6 days ago. When was this? So, have I done... So, I've done 2 episodes. Hang on. No, because the woman crashed into me on Wednesday the 13th, and today is Tuesday the 9th. Today's Tuesday? I thought today was Monday. You see when you don't like work a normal 9-to-5 job and you're just working random days throughout the week, you lose all track of like days. Like not long ago I was like, oh, what day is it? Saturday? No, it's Wednesday. I'm like, oh, right. I can tell you what date it is, but I don't know what day it is. But today's the 19th, so she crashed into me on the 13th. I was actually on my way to a wedding, which was Matt and Lou's wedding at the Mill Barns. So Matt and Louise. Now, when I say she crashed into me, it wasn't like an actual, I didn't go to hospital or anything. Like, nobody died. But I do, in fact, I want to keep it, I want to talk about it in a minute because I've actually got video evidence and everything. I've got a dash cam, right? But anyway, I went to Matt and Louise's wedding in the Mill Barns. See this Mill Barns, right? I'm like 1 or 2 weddings away from them and it's charging me rent. The amount of times I've been at the Mill Barns, like I think, possibly it's the venue I've been to the most. Possibly. Trying to think now. I would need to like work that one out because I just seem to be there all the time. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually one of my favorite venues as well. It's got a lot of space, and at nighttime, I can actually see what I'm doing. Like a lot of venues, like they'll once the nighttime, the DJ starts going and they turn all the lights down, and it's very difficult for me to see. And when that happens, I end up having to go somewhere where I can actually see, or, I've got like a little torch that clips onto the clipboard, but even then, it's still hard to see the person. But the Mill Barns is good because they turn the lights down, but they've got like these really bright, different colored lights. So 1 minute it could be like red, and the next minute it could be green. Very bad to take photographs with, but as far as actually being able to see the person while drawing them. I mean, I say it's bad to take photographs. It's not really. I'm looking at the pictures now. It's actually pretty cool, actually, when you look at it. Like, the pictures, they turn out like really red, or else really pink, or else really green, but I can see that's the main focus anyway. And that was a great wedding, and turns out, our Matty boy, he actually listens to the podcast, would you believe? I was quite surprised when Louise told me. She was like, my husband listens to your podcast. That's exactly how she speaks. My husband listens to your podcast. And I was like, oh, thanks, Louise. She doesn't speak like that, by the way. It's just me winding everybody up. But she's massively into her Disney, which is pretty cool. And I was telling her about like whenever I first started drawing, like I don't think I've ever talked about that in the podcast actually. But basically, when I was like 4 or 5 or whatever it was, my mum, she used to like, when she used to give us our food, she used to put it in a tray, like our dinner and stuff. So when we'd sit on the sofa, we wouldn't spill it everywhere. And my tray actually had like Disney characters on it. So it had like Donald Duck and all that kind of stuff. And I used to sit and look at the tray and like look at Donald Duck and then think about it in my head and then go upstairs and then actually draw him from memory. And even to this day, like I can still draw Donald Duck from memory. And when I was at that age, I was trying to see how fast I can do it. Which is kind of weird because my job now is to draw cartoons and see how fast I can do it. So whenever people say to me about like, you know, caricatures, how long have you been doing it? I say, oh, I've been doing it for 4 years, but realistically, I've been doing it since I was like 4. But just like drawing cartoons. So yeah, it's pretty mad. But yeah, so that was a brilliant wedding. I don't know how long I was there for. I think it was 4 hours. And yeah, a lot of people laughed at my jokes. There was a guy there, and he was a raging homosexual, shall we say? And he was there with his parents, and I knew that he was gay, right? Because you know the way they talk and stuff, like hiya, you know, and you know the wrist action and stuff they all do. And I was like, I knew that it was him, and then he was there with his parents. And I was just trying to I was like making this whole sort of running joke that his dad was gay and not him. And, so like one of the things that, I said to the mother, I was like, well, where is he? Cause he was next to get a drawing, and she was like, she did like the whole, you know, he's way out for a cigarette, but she did, you know, the mouth thing where like, he's way out for a cigarette. You know what I mean? Where they put the two things, like mimic someone taking a cigarette. And she was like, yeah, he's out having a cigarette. And I was like, he's out. And I did the blowjob thing. And then, you had to be there. It was so funny, like, but I just kept saying, like, that he was gay and that the son wasn't gay. But, yeah, that's the kind of laugh I like to have with people at weddings. Like, you know, the comedy aspect of it. Like, I can actually do comedy stuff like that. And it's almost like, I don't have to curse, but it's kind of ish rude-ish. Like what I just did there, you know what I mean? So, it's hard, I don't know, it's hard to explain. But it was a brilliant wedding, and yeah, so shout out Matt and Louise for having me. And I did say I'm going to give him a shout out on this podcast. And yeah, so I did that. And then the day after, we're on 20 minutes already, Jesus, right. The day after that, I went to Burton-on-Trent for Jay's wedding. Jay and who? I've got that Nutcracker song in my head. You know, and I don't even know why it's there. So Jay and Emily. So I did Jay and Emily's wedding, and that was at Hanbury Barn Weddings. Sorry, Hanbury Barnes wedding venue. Check this out, right? Jay and Emily booked me in 2022. Like 3 years ago. So it took 3 years to get to this wedding. I was joking around with them. I was like, yeah, I collect a pension now since you booked me. I had her when you booked me. All, you know, all my little funny jokes. And yeah, it went down really well. And then I went to Shrewsbury Castle. I did a wedding there for Edward and Carly. Now normally weddings, right? The ceremony's usually around about 1:30 in the afternoon. That's sort of the main sort of time. And in and around there, maybe 1 o'clock or maybe 2 o'clock. But it's in around sort of 1 and 2 o'clock. And Edward was like, oh, can I book you from 11:30 in the morning till 1:30? I was like, I was like, that doesn't make sense. Shouldn't the bride and the groom is that not when you get ready for your ceremony? But I was like, it doesn't make sense. And then I emailed him and I was like, are you sure it's like 11:30? And he's like, yeah. So the ceremony was at 11. So I think that's the earliest ceremony that I've ever been to at a wedding. And, yeah. So I got there. And, right enough, they were in 11 o'clock, they were in having their ceremony, and then they came out at 11:30. I was like, well, there you go. Every wedding is a snowflake. Every wedding is different. No wedding is the same. And I was only there for like 2 hours. Did the wedding and then, you know, popped smoke and away I went. And then that brings us on to here today. Oh, actually, no. Sunday, the 17th, we went, me, Kirsty, her brother and his family. We went to, Alton Towers. Oh, Jesus, I need to talk to you about this one. I said to Kirsty, this is going into the podcast. So we went to Alton Towers Water Park, and basically the night before, so after like Edward's wedding, Kirsty's brother rings her, and we're sitting in the living room, and then he's ringing her, and then it was really odd. It was like, why is he ringing at this time and this day? Like, why? Even Kirsty was looking at me, like a worried face, like, why is he ringing at me? Like, as if I knew why. But turns out he was just wanting to do something the next day. So they started throwing some ideas around. Kirsty wanted to go to Elderford Lake. So it's basically like a lake in Shropshire that has like this inflatable, jumpy around bouncy thing. But I was like, I don't want to be putting on a swimsuit that's worn by like some, greasy old people. No offense to anybody who's old and greasy, but I didn't want to put on some dirty wetsuit and, jump in a lake. So I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then every other idea we came up with, like West Midland Safari Park. No, I don't want to do that. Right. It's very hard to plan something that everybody wanted to do. And then the ideas just popped into my head. I was like, well, what about Alton Towers Water Park? Because I have been talking about that for a long time. And next thing you know, everyone was in agreement. Yeah, let's do that. Now, I didn't realise that, this is a Sunday. This is a school summer holiday, and it's absolutely scorching outside. Do you reckon it's going to be busy? Huh? We got there, couldn't get parking. Like, it was almost impossible. That place was absolutely packed. And it was actually pretty funny. So, I think, to be honest with you, the travel down there, like the journey down, because it took about 2 hours to get there, like the journey down there was more fun than the actual event itself. So me and Kirsty were in her car, and then Lee and Sarah and her kids, Ethan and Ava, they were in her brother's car. Hang on a second. I don't know if it's her brother's car or it's his wife's car. No, sorry, not wife. They're going to kill me. His partner's car. I mean, his partner, Sarah, always seems to be the one driving. So is it her car? For the purposes of this episode, I'm going to say her car. So, Kirsty and her brother were in his, do you know what? His car. And, they live about, I think they live about half an hour away from us. So we were like, do they come here, or are we going to meet them down there? And Kirsty was like, oh, well, we need to get somewhere. We need to stop off somewhere for food and fuel. And there's a garage, like a Shell garage, not far, like on the way, basically. And they've got like a little hot plate thing, so they do really nice food there. They do like hot dogs and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, let's go to that garage and we'll get some food and we'll fill up, and then the can meet us there. And she was like, yeah, let's do that then. So we drove down to the garage, got food, fuel, and turns out Sarah started driving down to meet us and actually left the iron on. So she ended up having to go back to the house to turn the iron off. And that's where everything started to go downhill. Right? So me and Kirsty were sitting there, we're eating our food, and after they went back and got their turned off the iron, they started heading back towards us, and we were sitting there, we're about 20 minutes late by this point, because we were supposed to be at Alton Towers by 12:30, and on the sat-nav it was like, you're going to get there at 10 to 1, and I was like, we'll blame Sarah for this. I was like, anything that happens from now on, we can pinpoint it back to this very moment where Sarah messed everything up. So we had to decide. So I was like, what are they doing? Are they pulling into the garage and then we'll both pull out and we'll both drive off? Kirsty was like, no, they're going to pass us. Now I was like, hang on a second. So they're passing us? Yes. But they're following us? Yes. So we would need to basically, they're not, for me, it would make sense to pull in and then we both pull out of the garage at the same time and then they can follow us. But she was suggesting that we somehow go onto the road and join them and then they're going to be directly behind us. So we would need to like go, basically like, you know, so where we were sitting, like you can't really see the road from the direction they were coming in, but you can see the road from the opposite side. So basically the road, how can I explain this, right? So we're on the left-hand side of the road, right? So you're driving down, you're on the left-hand side of the road. The garage is on the right-hand side. So the traffic is coming from the right-hand side as well. So we would need to get in front of the traffic on the right-hand side and join the left-hand side lane. But we would need to do that and be directly in front of her brother's car. Okay, I think we've established it's her brother's car now. And we would need to do that without seeing them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so what happened was we ended up, me and Kirsty, we used mathematics in order to pick the perfect time to join the road in order to make this a reality, basically. So we got her brother to text us when he was passing a certain landmark. That was a building, right? It was a castle. So we like used Google Maps to find out how far away that castle was from us, and it was 5 minutes away from us. And we got Lee, Kirsty's brother's name. We got Lee to tell us when he was passing the castle, so we could start a timer. And now we sort of calculated by the time he texts, like, would they be passing it and all this kind of stuff. But basically, we worked it out. It was like 3.5 minutes. So almost exactly 3.5 minutes later, they will be passing us. So we need to join the road, the main road, at 3.5 minutes. Now, this was exciting because it was like, this could either work or not. So there was a number of factors that had to be like put in place in order for this to work. The math needs to be right, and the right hand side road needs to be clear, and anybody coming out of the garage, there has to be nobody coming out of the garage. So all this factored in, right? I was sitting there looking at the stopwatch, and I was like, T minus 1 minute, and then it was like, right, 3 seconds. All of a sudden, like, it was literally like 3 seconds before we were joining the road, and they just passed us. So we were literally, like, we used mathematics, and we were literally 3 seconds out. But do you know something? Bit of a waste of time telling you that. You had to be there. But that, again, if we had got it spot on, if we were like 3 seconds, you know, more accurate, like, we were literally just going to join the road, and then they would have been directly behind us. It would have worked perfectly. But it was the whole, it was the whole intense thing of like, is this going to work? It was like something out of a movie scene. Like, it was pretty cool. So what happened was they ended up going in front of us 3 seconds, right? And then because of that 3 seconds, there was traffic on the right hand side. So we ended up, it didn't work basically. So we ended up on the road. And as we were driving down, we were like contacting Lee, and we were like, yeah, he was like, where are you? And we're like, we're behind you. You're supposed to be in front of us. I know. We were 3 seconds out. It didn't work. Now, when you're coming up to Shrewsbury from where we are, there's a roundabout, and it goes into 2 lanes, right? So you can either go left, straight on, or right. Now, the signs normally say you can't go right on the left-hand lane, but you can, because if you go in that lane, and you just stay in that lane, you end up turning right anyway. So I don't know. So a lot of people, they just look at the sign, and then they all park on the right hand side. So there's 2 lanes leading up to this roundabout. They park on the right hand side and queue up. Well, you can actually go on the left hand side and don't have to queue up. So Lee, Sir, and his kids all parked on the right hand lane, while me and Kirsty, we went in the left hand lane and then overtook them. And then we went straight on. We actually cut through Shrewsbury while Lee and Sarah went along the motorway, or the A road. And we were like constantly communicating with each other, and we're like, you need to be behind us. We need to be in front of you. I ended up, there was another garage, BP garage, and we ended up pulling in there. And then, long story short, they ended up behind us where they should have been. But it took us about 2 hours. It would have been easier if we had just met them there. And then on the way down, Jesus, we got stuck behind Absolutely everything. Oh, we're leading on to the bad drivers thing here. We got stuck behind a slow driver, tractors, cyclists, you name it. On the way down there, we got stuck behind everything. And it was fun. Like, it was a fun journey, even though it was like watching Kirsty stressing out. Like, she was, I learned something about Kirsty that day. That I thought I had road rage. She's worse than me. Like, she is proper, like, she's calling everybody all sorts of names. But, what else? Yeah, it was a fun journey down there. And then we got there, and then we ended up, I think we were like half an hour late. But it turns out it didn't even matter. It didn't even matter how, like, it was literally like, we're half an hour late, it doesn't matter. So all that worried and stressed for nothing. But it was fun blaming Sarah for everything. Like, when we got stuck behind the tractors, I was like, this is Sarah's fault. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be stuck behind here. If it wasn't for her leaving the iron on. Turns out she didn't even leave the iron on or something. It was like they needed to get a shirt. I don't know. But it was, if you've never been to Alton Towers Water Park, I suggest going, but I would suggest going like during the week and not on a summer holiday, because that place was absolutely rammed. They've got this slide called the Master Blaster, and it's a 60-minute wait in queue. Like, you're only there for 2.5 hours. So you get like an armband, and I don't know if it's like when it's busy, or do you only get 2.5 hours throughout the year? I don't know. Yeah, so 60-minute wait to go on their biggest slide, and you're only there for 2.5 hours. So I was like, I'm not going to waste 2.5, I'm not going to waste 60 minutes. Just go on all the other slides. So we went on all the other slides and went down the lazy river. It's just basically this like sort of canal, if you like, that's got like current going through it, and then you just swim right through it. I mean, talk about traffic jams. Like, you were going around it and people were just like on their floats and stuff, and it was like traffic jams. It was like so busy. It was too busy. Like, never go to Alton Towers Water Park on in the summertime on the weekend. Like, it was too busy. But other than that, it was great. Apart from the fact that I did a backflip on the water and cracked my head off the ground. Cut my head bang, like right down the middle, my forehead. So I'm currently walking around with a big massive scar on my head. Makes me look hard though. Then after we went to a buffet, and so the actual place itself has a buffet in it, and you pay, I don't know, it was 20-30 quid or whatever it was for the buffet, and you can eat as much as you want. And I love Yorkshire puddings, and I seen a bowl of Yorkshire puddings, and I was just like, I'll have 4 of them, please. Thank you very much. And then I filled the Yorkshire puddings up with like, curry and mincemeat and pulled pork. And then once I ate them, I went back up again and got more. I don't know how many Yorkshire puddings I had, but at one point I had a Yorkshire pudding. I filled it with like nacho cheese, and I was like dipping chips into the nacho cheese. And then Lee goes to me, oh, would it not be better putting salsa in there? And I was like, do you think that would be worth it? Oh, I went back up, got another Yorkshire pudding and put salsa in that. I think altogether I had about 6 or 7 Yorkshire puddings. And then they had, I mean, you want to see Lee's plate. Lee's a big guy, like, and whenever I'm at a buffet, right, I'll only put like a small amount on a plate, eat that, then go back up, get another small amount, and then, you know, I'll keep doing that. I don't, if I put everything in one go on a plate, I will only eat like a third of it or something, because it's almost like psychological. Like, if I see it's too much, then I won't eat it all. But if I eat like picky wise, then I'll eat a lot of it. Do you know what I mean? But his plate, yeah, he had like pretty much everything on his plate, plus like a whole chicken on top of that. It was like a mountain. Like, you want to see the size of it. And I think he ate the whole lot as well. And then desserts, we were like, there's like an ice cream cone machine. So you put your cone in the thing, and then it fills it up with ice cream. And Lee, the genius, gets a bowl. Because basically what happens is where the ice cream machine is, you know, you got sprinkles and stuff, but you're not allowed to put the sprinkles or anything in like the bowl or whatever. So Lee, the genius, like, he gets the ice cream, puts it in the cone, and then puts the sprinkles on it, and then puts that in the bowl, and then gets another one, and puts that in the bowl. I was like, that's genius. So he found like a loophole. So you're allowed to put ice cream in the bowl, but you're not allowed to put the sprinkles or fudge things, because you can just put too many in it. So you're allowed to put sprinkles and stuff on the ice cream cone itself. And it's a buffet, so you can have as many as you want. But there's nowhere that says that you can't actually put the cones in a bowl. So that's what he did, and then I did the same. And yeah, we had some lovely ice cream and stuff. But yeah, it was amazing. It was an amazing time, guys. Apart from the fact it was busy, that's the only thing. I've rambled on too much. Right, let's get stuck into it, shall we? Bad drivers. I mean, I haven't cursed so far, so I'm. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of difficult not to curse because it's constantly in my head. Don't curse, don't curse, don't curse. But I think over time that might get easier. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. Experiment. I'm gonna listen back after this and then see if it's any better. I don't know. But play the intro. We'll get stuck into the topic, shall we? Bad drivers. Play the intro. If there's one thing I can't stand, and I can't stand it anymore, is bad drivers. I think everybody will agree with me on this section of the episode. I cannot stand bad drivers. What do you mean, bad driver? I mean the people who go half the speed limit. It's not a target, it's a limit. How about you get off the road? How about you use public transportation? I've always said this, right in the very beginning. Slow drivers are more dangerous than fast drivers. That's my opinion. One slow driver can hold up about 50 cars, and all them 50 people are getting angry. And they'll do stupid stuff in order to get around a car, a slow moving vehicle. But it's the slow driver that causes it. Am I right? I mean, I was saying earlier on, like when we were going to Alton Towers, as soon as we got out of Shrewsbury, there was a slow driver, and I was like, this guy was going 30 miles an hour in a 60 mile an hour zone. And the problem with like parts of Shropshire and the whole of Wales is the roads are very narrow, like they're very windy. So you can't even overtake them. So you're literally like stuck behind this person who doesn't care who's behind them. Right? Probably doesn't even look in the rear view mirror and realises there's about 40 cars behind him. But there's no reason to go 30 miles an hour in a 60 mile an hour zone. And Kirsty, like, she was fuming. There was a car in front as well. And this is, again, another bad driver. If you have no intentions to overtake a slow moving vehicle, then leave room for the people behind you to go in front of you, then go in front of the slow driver. Wouldn't that be the sensible thing to do? No, I'll just go right up this slow driver and stay behind him. So now the person behind me has got 2 cars to overtake. But this person was like literally 30 miles an hour. A motorbike guy, he overtook, because, you know, motorbikes can overtake traffic pretty easily. And even he, as soon as he passed it, he just shook his head at the car. Even the people in front, you could see that they were trying to overtake, but they were in like a little 1.2 courses, so they couldn't overtake. Like, there was not enough space for them to do it. Even they were getting frustrated. Kirsty was getting frustrated. The people behind us were getting frustrated. And this person, not a care in the world. Just some old guy. Just driving along, minding his own business. Oblivious to the stress. Like, people have got places to go. Things to do, appointments to make. And these people who go like half the speed limit don't care. Like, and another one is like tractors. all right, yes, I get it. You know, you have to go from point A to point B. You have to go from one farm to another. But when you're holding up like 50 cars and you're passing a parking place and you don't go into it, that gets me. But I'm even getting furious thinking about it. But you know what I mean? Like, I used to be an HGV driver. I've still got my HGV, my class 1 and stuff. And it fills me with dread to think of me driving again just because of the other road users. Like, the amount of times I've been stuck behind tractors and it's like 30 miles an hour and I'm in a 40-foot long vehicle that, you know, that's not fast, and I could be stuck behind this tractor for like 20 miles. That's the thing that really I hate. I can't stand it. So like, and then, you know, if a tractor pulls in, so see there's a place where a tractor can pull in and he pulls in, I'm alright then. I'm alright, yes, you know, I've had to follow you for 15 miles, but you know, it is what it is. You have to get there. I understand that. But it's the ones who don't, like, who'll see a parking place and just keep going. That's the ones I hate. I hate them! Oh. People who don't use indicators. God, I can't stand them. Idiots. I pull up the roundabout and I see a car coming along the roundabout and you know, sometimes you're even looking at we're looking at each other and then he just turns off the roundabout without indicating. I'm like, you absolute idiot. Like, what? Why could you have not just done the right thing and indicate? I could have been on my merry way. And nothing's worse than that than if you were an HGV driver and, you know, you've got a heavy load or whatever. You're pulling up the roundabout, you see a car coming around and then you stop because it don't indicate. So you stop like an articulated lorry and then they just turn off without indicating. And you're like, now I have to start again. And it's so frustrating. So, you know, use your indicators. Have some courtesy for everybody else. Are we mind readers? Can I read your mind? That's what I always think. Like, can I read your mind? Oh, I've had it before as well. Like, driving an HGV, when you go on to when you're on a motorway, and then a car is like going very slow, and then you're like, right, I'm gonna have to overtake this twat. So you start to overtake him, and then they speed up, and then you look like a fool, and then you have to go back into these people. They need castrating. One thing that makes me laugh as well, like, and this is not just HGV, this is like normal cars, but if you're going down the road, right, and you want to turn right into a street or whatever, so you're on the left-hand lane, right, all the right-hand lane traffic is coming down, and you're stood there, you're sat there, you're indicating to turn right, and the traffic's coming down, and each car goes past you, yum, yum, yum. Why is it it's always the last person in the queue of traffic who will stop and let you in, thinking that they're doing something nice? Look behind you. Look behind you. If you were to look behind you, you would see that there's nobody behind you. And then if you kept going with the traffic, you would have been on your way. And I would have turned literally quick. It would have been quicker for you to do that. So I could turn, because you're going like 30, 40 miles an hour. If you had to continue that, I would have went straight after you. But you stop. Then you let me go. So you, these people just don't make, what goes through their heads? What goes through their heads? The reason why I'm doing this episode was, as I touched on earlier on, I was going to a wedding, and it was near. Well, I was going through Bridge North, which is in Shropshire, and as I was approaching the roundabout, right, it goes into two lanes. So you have the left-hand lane and the right-hand lane. So the left-hand lane, you're either going left straight on. The right-hand lane is to go right. I was turning right, and as I was approaching the roundabout, there was a red car on the left-hand lane, and I started going round and roundabout, and we were going round and roundabout pretty much at the same time. And for some stupid reason, and I don't know why, she just crashes straight into me. I think she was turning right. I do have this in dash cam, so I'm actually going to upload it to Stewie Stott's Facebook page and Instagram. I'm going to do that right after this episode. So by the time you listen to this, it will be on there. In fact, I might even do it now. I'll do it straight after. So you'll see by the video, right? You'll see the video. We both approach the roundabout, and then I start turning right around. I start going round and roundabout, and then she literally just goes straight into me. It's almost like she did it on purpose. So like she literally, I think she was trying to turn right. I think she was in the wrong lane, and then she didn't even look. She was literally she just turned right and smacked straight into me. Now, we were only going about 16 miles an hour. There wasn't that, I didn't die. I'm not a ghost on this podcast, but like when you actually if you watch the video, you'll know what I mean. Like, it was almost like she was right beside me, and then she just turned straight into me. So she ended up going, so the roundabout, we were about halfway around the roundabout, and she crashed into me, and then she just went straight on. So instead of going left or turning right, she went straight on, and she just drove off. And I was like, what? So I turned around, I went back around the roundabout, and I had to chase after her. So I was chasing after her, and then she eventually pulled in, and I pulled in next to her. And I was like, you just crashed into me. And she was like, no, I didn't. She was like, you crashed into me. And I just instantly pointed at my dash cam, and I was like, it's all on there on video. I was like, I recorded the whole thing. As soon as she seen that, oh, well, I didn't know what happened. See, if I didn't have that dash cam, it would be, who would know? Like, she's saying she crashed into me. I'm saying she crashed into her. No, hang on. I'm saying that she crashed into me. She's saying that I crashed into her. But it was mad, like, the power of a dash cam. Because I was like, I know the truth. The objective truth was that she crashed into me. But if I didn't have evidence of that, then it doesn't matter if it's an objective truth or not. An objective truth is that no matter what happens, like lies or anything, the objective truth is the actual truth, right? So it doesn't matter whether it's believed in or not. It's the objective truth is actually what happened. So I was like, you crashed into me, and then she was like, no, it didn't. You crashed into me. And I was like, it's on dashcam. And then her face just totally changed. Now, the dashcam, if you turn the car off, it stops recording, but it records sound as well. So she starts getting in an argument with me, and I'm like, you better watch what you're saying, because this whole thing is being recorded. And I was like, it's recording audio right now. And then again, her voice, her attitude just totally changed. The power that little dashcam had over her was amazing. So my car, it's not a new car, so there's already scratches and bumps on it. And my car is a Toyota, right? This thing, it was literally like, when she crashed into it, my car was just like, nah, whatever. It was literally like a couple of little scrapes on the bumper, and the other side, the bumper popped out a little bit, so I can just pop it back in. But her door completely caved in, scratched, all sorts of stuff. And she was like, so we ended up swapping insurance contact details, and I mean, my car's not damaged enough to lose my no claims bonus. So I don't want to, I mean, I had to go out about 6-7 years no claims bonus. I don't want to ruin that to get a bumper fixed and to fix a couple of bits of paint. So I'm like, her car came off worse. So, I mean, and she's completely liable for it. So if she contacts her insurance or whatever, then I'll sort it. But if she doesn't, I'm just going to wait. Because there's no way I'm losing my no claims bonus for a bumper that can be, if it was worse, if my car was completely damaged, then yes, I would. But I'm not losing like 6 years no claims bonus for like a £30 bumper. You could buy a bumper for like 30 quid second hand. But it was the whole thing about it was like, you know, as soon as she was like, it wasn't my fault, it was your fault. I'm like, my camera evidence would suggest otherwise. Okay, then maybe it was my fault, sorry. But I think the moral of the story is get yourself a dash cam. Trust me, you need it. With idiots out there, you know, an accident could happen at any time. Like, I was literally on my way to a wedding, it was, you know, a normal day, blah, 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 bang. Oh, it's alright, it's fine, I've got a dash cam. You need to get yourself a dash cam. Even if it's a little cheap one, buy yourself one, because, I mean, whenever I installed mine, you hide the wires and all this kind of stuff, and it just sits up where the rear view mirror is, and I don't even notice it. I don't even notice it's there. I think I got one, it's a next base one, and it was like 40, I think it was like 50 quid or something. And, you know, it's a godsend. Like, if that crash was worse, like if it was really bad and people got injured, and she was like, oh, he crashed into me, I could get sued. And I'm like, no, she crashed into me. Yeah, but she's an old lady. We're going to take her word for it or something, you know what I mean? So, but when you've got like actual video evidence, then, you know, oh, she crashed into me, that's a false allegation, false statement, sue her, you know? But you need to get a dash cam. What other bad drivers is there out there? What have we covered? People who don't indicate, people who drive slow. What else we got? People who do stupid overtakes. So, like, I was in a vehicle one time and I was driving down the road, and it's a very bumpy road. Well, not bumpy, but it's hilly, like up and down. So, like, there's a lot of blind spots. And the road markings was like solid white lines, so you can't overtake when there's two double solid white lines. And I was in an HGV at the time, and I had this absolute idiot. And I remember it was a Ford Focus, and I didn't have a dash cam at the time, or I would have showed you that. But he decides to overtake me. Like, when there's blind spots and stuff, and all of a sudden his car came out of nowhere. And he was like, almost at my cab, where the truck is, and the other car, forced it off the road. And then he just drove off. And I was like, that was almost like a head on. It's dangerous driving. And I don't know what happened to that other car, but like, it had to go off the road. Luckily enough, it was like grass, like a flat sort of grassy bit. So I think the car just went on the grass and then went back onto the road again. But he almost caused a full on collision. And then a number of years ago, right? There was I was driving through Stoke, and it was on their A road. I think it was like the A50 or something like that. But there's a slip road, and there's always a queue at it. And this is another one bad drivers do. They stay on the motorway, and then they try to wait for a gap on the slip road so they can just slide in and beat the traffic. This one on this day, this slip road, there was traffic, but it was rolling. And this woman, she was trying to find a gap to get in, and she found a gap, so she got into the gap, but the traffic stopped as she was getting in, and she just went straight into the back of a car. And I've actually got the video of that as well, the dash cam, and she crashed into the back of the car, then came back out to the main road, and I had to slam the brakes on because she came back into my lane, and I slammed the brakes on, and it ended up, she caused like a 5-car pile-up. And she ended up back into my lane, and then she stopped, and then I was directly behind her. So I put on the hazards, and I got out, because it was a bad crash, and I got out, and I ran over to the car, opened the door, and she was like in shock. She was like, oh my God, I don't know what happened. And I'm like, I know exactly what happened. You tried to beat the queue, and you forced your way in, and then you caused a 5-car pile-up. So she was in shock, and I was like talking to her, and then next thing I hear is, meh, meh, like crying. There was a baby in the back seat. In a child seat, and I was driving a full class 1 HGV, like heavy, like I had a heavy load. If I had a crash in the back of that car, I probably would have killed that baby. I'll find that video as well. So I'm gonna put the one that happened the other day on, and then I'll put the bad crash that happened a few years ago. I'll put them two on Stewie's Thoughts Facebook page and his Instagram, so you can actually see, like, it firsthand how bad some drivers are on the road. Oh, boils me. It boils my blood. And what else? There's one thing that I always used to do as well. Like, you see, if there's, I don't know, roadworks or something like that, right? And if you see that a lane closes, so if you see like a lane closure in 800 meters or whatever it is, what people do is they'll go onto the left hand side and then they'll queue up as soon as they see like 800 meters. So then you've got the right hand side where eventually the road, ends. People think that the right thing to do is to queue up on the left hand side, and they hate the drivers that go past them on the right hand side. And so what they'll try and do is they'll go in the middle of the road. Like, I've seen HGVs doing this, and I'm guilty of it. I used to do it years ago before I realised that, what I was actually doing was wrong. So if you see the lane merging in, right? If you're queuing up at like even 400 meters or 200 meters or whatever, and you're blocking people from getting in front of you, what you're actually doing is blocking the road, which is actually illegal. So you think that you're doing something right, but you're actually not. The right thing to do is to actually use the right-hand lane. And then at the end, because what it's doing is it's telling you that in 800 meters, you need to merge in to the single lane. It's not saying, it's 800 meters, merge now. What you're actually supposed to do is use up all the road. So all these people queuing on the left-hand side, they're actually wrong. What you should be doing is using both. And then when it comes to the lane that's actually closed and you're merging in, you're supposed to merge in like a zip. So like one car goes in, the other car goes in, the other car, the left-hand lane goes, he lets the right-hand lane in, like a zip. That's the proper way to do it. So me now, anytime I see like a road closure like that and there's a massive queue, I just go in the right-hand lane and go as far as I possibly can. And then you're getting people throwing like profanity. I don't know what the right word is. They're throwing like hand signals at you and calling you all sorts of names. And I'm like, you don't know you're the one that's in the wrong, not me. So I am now one of them drivers who, if there's a lane closure and it's like, say, 400 meters still to go and there's a massive queue on the left-hand side, I go on the right-hand side because that's what you're supposed to do. So I used to think that they were bad drivers. I used to block them. But apparently, when it comes to the, the road thing? What do you call it? The highway code. So according to the highway code, you're supposed to use up all of the road and then zip in at the end. So see, from now on, guys, if you're driving down the road and you see roadworks, 400 meters, the lane closes, just stay in the right-hand lane. There's no point queuing up. And check that out yourselves. You're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, no, that's rude. It's not rude. Oh, because what you're actually doing, if you're queuing up on the left-hand side, you're actually blocking people from behind you. So there could be like a junction that's blocked because everyone's queuing when they don't need to be. It's like someone said to me one time, if there was a sign that said, lane closed, merges in 8 miles, would you then queue on the left-hand side for 8 miles? Or would you keep going? But there we go. What else we got? People who speed. I mean, it makes me, I always wonder, why is motorbikes allowed to speed and we're not? And I said that to Kirsty the other day and she was like, well, they're actually not allowed, are they? And I'm like, but if you look at the signs, it says like, think twice or something like that. On the actual picture, it shows you like a racing motorbike. It's very, very, very rare that I actually see a motorbike that doesn't speed. And like, how do they always get away with it? That's what my question is. But speeding, like, I mean, anytime I speed, it's because I'm overtaking somebody who's going half the speed limit. I had a Subaru Impreza when I was younger, and I've always had clean license, and since I got my Subaru, I got 3 points for speeding once and 3 points for speeding the other time, and it was literally because I was overtaking a slow driver. Like the second time, the police guy was like, I think he was in a lay-by, and he heard my exhaust, my Subaru overtaking a car, and he clocked me at like 80 or something. But I was this car was going like 50 and a 60, but the Subaru was quite fast. So by the time I overtook him, I was already doing 80, and I was just like, oh, I didn't know I was going that fast. It was literally just go around him and then go back to 60. But because the speed of the Subaru was just, because it's pretty fast, it was, caught me doing 80. And I was like, I was just overtaking that slow driver, that Sunday driver, I called him. And then he was just like, if I was going 2 miles an hour more or something like that, I would end up in court. I was like, ooh. But yeah, I don't speed anymore, but like, sometimes though you have to overtake, don't you? One thing as well, I don't understand. Why buy a car that goes faster than the speed limit? I never understood that. Why buy a Ferrari? Oh, this car can do 200 miles an hour. But when are you going to do it? Like, why get a supercar in the UK? If you're in Germany, you've got the Autobahn, you can go as fast as you like. Yeah, get it then. But like Gordon Ramsay, he's driving around in that big, what is it? I don't even know what it is. Is it a Ferrari or a Porsche or something? And it's like £2.3 million for this car. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't go faster than 70 miles an hour. Like, why get it? I think he uses it like a daily. It makes no sense. I used to be in my cars back in the day, but see now, I'm like, is it practical? Yes, I'll take it. Right, I think we're done. Have we got any more speeding, slow drivers, people who don't use indicators? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I got nothing more to say. But there we go. There's my little experiment. My little experiment episode. I didn't curse. I'm going to put this as a clean one. See if it makes any difference to the viewers. And if it doesn't, I don't know what to do. But yeah, I proved that I can do an episode and I can't curse. But was it as funny? I'll be honest with you. This has been the most difficult one for me to talk because I'm like constantly thinking, don't curse, don't curse. So I don't know. It's an experimental episode, so we'll see how it goes. And if it doesn't do anything to the ratings or anything, I'll probably just go back to normal, but really tone down the cursing. That's what I'm going to do. But we'll see. Next episode is episode 50. I'm going to do something special to market. So I might do like 50 jokes or 50 interesting facts. I think I might do the 50 jokes. So I'll tell like 50 hilarious jokes. Make it a real fun episode. Yeah, I think I might do something like that. Or join the over 50s plan. But there we go. Clean episode done. Don't know how I feel about it, but we'll see. It's been an experiment, and we'll see what happens in the future. And if it's, yeah. I mean, was this really fun, this episode to listen to? I don't know. I'm going to listen to it back and then check the ratings, and if it doesn't do anything, I'll just go back to normal. But we'll see. It's all about experiments, guys. That's how you figure stuff out. You test the waters, as they say. You do little experiments. You collect some data. You analyze it, and then you go with the best outcome. But we'll see what this does. Cheers for listening, guys, and I'll see you on episode 50, where I could potentially go back to saying the F word. Who knows? But we'll see. Cheers for listening, guys. Bye.